Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, host of the Love You Even More podcast. I'm an author, marriage and family therapist in training, performer, and 2-time Emmy Award winner. Each week, I bring on people from all walks of life to talk to them about their inspiring stories in the fields of self-development, relationships, business, and how you can love yourself even more. For more about me and the podcast, visit us at loveyouevenmore.com. Welcome, Dima Gornovskyi, to the Love You Even More podcast. Dima is a Reiki teacher, and today we're going to talk all about what Reiki is, how we can do Reiki on others, including ourselves, and how it can really change our lives for the better. It's an incredible healing modality that Dima is so skilled at, and I'm so excited to have you.
Hi, Jackie. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay. So I know, we're here in LA. People definitely know what Reiki is, but I would like to get your opinion and your thoughts on what Reiki is, kind of in a simple term for people who may not know what Reiki is.
So Reiki is a Japanese energy healing method where you primarily use your hands to channel the energy. And Reiki is this universal energy. Basically, Rei stands for higher consciousness, and Ki is the energy in Japanese. So it's very similar to Qi in China and Prana in India. And pretty much every ancient culture had some sort of this divine energy that people used and channeled to heal themselves or like fulfill their kind of like goals and dreams. So it's this energy that is present everywhere at all times. And if you learn how to, I think I'm cutting out, but if you learn how to channel it, then you can direct it and apply it to whatever it is your intention. And what people don't know about Reiki is that primarily it is a self-healing technique, because we always start with ourselves. And this is how I got into Reiki. I had my own personal goals that I wanted to achieve. They were related to health, relationships, finances, and I was able to fulfill them all. And so it was self-practice for many, many years until I actually took it outside and started practicing with other people.
Because, that's how I've always thought of Reiki is, I go somewhere and someone does Reiki on me to help heal me. But I like the idea of using it as your own therapy. The more you learn and the more you practice on yourself, the more you would be able to utilize it in your life, whether you do it on other people or teach or not. It's just your own thing.
And in this particular way, exactly. And this is why I try to explain people that when you practice on yourself and with yourself, it's very similar to meditation. You basically set aside some time during the day and you maintain in this, you grow your energy field. It becomes more whole and becomes bigger, and you just feel like a better version of yourself continuously. And I personally always recommend people to learn how to do it. It's not that hard to learn. You can start practicing pretty much. It takes like a couple of days to complete all the theory, and then you start practicing, and then it stays with you for the rest of your life. And whatever you want to apply it for, whether it's your own well-being or you want to heal your loved ones, your spouses, kids, animals, parents, friends, it stays with you forever. And so it's just so magical that anyone can learn and anyone can practice it.
When you first discovered Reiki, obviously there were things that you wanted to heal within yourself. Had you kind of hit a point in your life where you needed it, or did it find you out of nowhere?
So this is actually a very funny story, and I believe that everyone comes into Reiki with something. You need to reach a certain point of life when you're ready for this healing modality. And particularly for me, I was born and I grew up with chronic fatigue my whole life. And at first I thought that, these are like teenage years when you sleep a lot. And then I started going to doctors. I was doing all these blood tests. I was born in Ukraine, 50 miles away from Chornobyl. So I thought, maybe this is something that affected me in some way. But all the tests came back normal. And the doctors was like, everything is fine with you. They even tried to prescribe me antidepressants. They said that you're just depressed and you might feel better. That didn't help. Yeah. And then finally, a friend of mine told me about Reiki. And at first I was laughing because I was like, this is too good to be true. But she said, no, you actually need to try it. It's going to change your life. It's going to change the way you feel. You will be so happy you did. And I said, listen, I am going to learn it just to prove it wrong. I was like, it's not going to work. I don't believe in laying hands of someone and healing. I was like, this sounds like from some kind of ancient books, and this is just not the reality of the modern world. And I started learning. And as I was practicing, I asked my teachers, they said, well, what do you want to heal? And I said, well, I have this like chronic fatigue. It doesn't go away. And they said, oh, it's actually something is wrong with your energy field. And they said, and you will know exactly what's wrong once you start practicing. You probably have some kind of energy leak where your life force energy within your body leaks somewhere else, or some kind of like either a past trauma or some kind of past connection that you cannot let go of. So you can take care of this. Then you probably have some kind of disbalance with chakras, and it can go either way. Chakra can be either overdeveloped and we overuse them. Like, for example, my Agnya, my third eye chakra, I constantly think about something. This is just like who I am. And it uses so much life force energy that I have to continuously bring it back into balance so that it lets the energy go into all other chakras and my energy field stays balanced. Or you can have an undeveloped chakra. Let's say if you don't use your creativity, then your solar plexus is not going to be as developed as other ones, or again, if it's the heart center, then it will be like giving and receiving love. And you can go in all of these details, but generally Reiki help us fill it with energy, bring it into balance, and just have the whole system work together.
Oh, there's so much of this. I'm just like, oh, I'm so excited you're here. Let's talk about chakras because I've had other healers on the show before, and I started learning about chakras a really, really long time ago and how they affect the areas of the body that they like rule. And how if your chakra, like you just said, is overdeveloped, underdeveloped, blocked, way too open. My girlfriend's always telling me to shut down my crown and my third eye chakra because they're way too open. And it's what you
Me
just
too.
described, right? You're like, let's balance that. Let's balance it. So can you kind of describe what that means, like how someone might know if one of their chakras is overdeveloped or underdeveloped?
So, we have 7 primary ones, and each chakra is related to some kind of area of your body or area of your life. So, for example, the third eye chakra, it is responsible for vision, but also our ability to, think and process and comprehend. And so there is a vision, literally like physical vision, what we see. And then there is a figurative vision, is basically like our intuition, how we can see like things that are not physical or not material. So both will apply here, and you will know, okay, if you have a problems with your vision, or if you're literally delusional, which
Yeah.
it's funny because I even like ask myself all the time, do I have a vision of something that doesn't actually exist, that is detached from reality? Because we all live in some kind of like world where we want to believe in something. And so, well, even if you don't practice Reiki, once you start practicing Reiki, and I have to say that chakras are not original to Reiki system. So Reiki is basically based on hand positions. So you will have these, a couple of dozen hand positions. We start with 12 and then we add more. And when you lay your hands, if you practice enough, you start getting feedback. And so you will feel the way energy flows, and some people sense temperature, some people sense pressure. It's kind of like the water pressure. It's either weak or it's very strong. And you will know, eventually you will be able to interpret what exactly it means. So when you practice Reiki, like when you lay your hands on some position, and you will know the way your body part responds, like how you can understand it. But then you can simply sit down and break down and say, hey, how am I doing with giving or receiving love? Receiving love is the left part of our body. Giving love is the right part of the body. So everything that has to do with the heart area, you kind of like, you can lay your hands on the left side and you're like, okay, this has to do with receiving love. How does it feel? And then you can lay your hands on the right side and this has to do with giving love. How does it feel? I don't know what's going on with this
It's
camera, but
okay. Just keep going. It's
I
okay.
am so sorry.
It's all right. I'm
Uh,
going to wave my hand so I know where to edit.
and
Okay.
and you can and you can pretty much work. You can sit down and you can outline, like, so there is a list of like areas of life and how they are related to chakras. You can look at it from Reiki standpoint, and you can, this is why I kind of like apply both, because when people come to me and say, hey, I have a problem with this and that, and I said, okay, let's down on the table, we're going to do the session. I am going to pay attention how each part of your body responds to the energy, and then we're going to sit down and we'll see, okay, what can we do about it? Maybe it just needs more energy, maybe we need to balance, maybe you need to rebalance your life. And balance in life is so important, because when we're like too focused on work or too focused on health, and then we're ignoring other parts of life, this is where our energy field is going to reflect.
Right. So if you are doing a session on someone, are you, are you going to feel it and they're going to feel it in an area that's not balanced?
So the person who are receiving Reiki energy, that is going to depend on their sensitivity.
Okay.
Some people, they say, oh, like, I don't feel the energy. Is anything wrong with me? And I said, no, it really depends on how you are sensitive to the non-physical energy. And even if you don't feel anything, that's totally fine. That just means that you can develop this sensitivity if you want to, but it's not necessarily that if you don't feel anything, there is no energy going. Like, I will feel it for you, and whatever you need to know, you can ask me and I will explain it to you. But some people, I will say the majority of people, get up after the session, they need a few minutes, and they're like, wow. They're like, it was some kind of different reality. And I said, well, that's pretty much what it feels like. Yeah.
Oh. And then how are you after? Do you need to clear that energy out of, does it go into your body or are you just kind of channeling it out?
So the Reiki protocol, we have our own personal energy, and then there is a number of healers who use their own personal energy to heal people. And it's okay to have some downsides, because first of all, the reserve is limited, and second of all, that you can actually get energy from other people and you can pass your own personal energy onto these people. So it's not exactly safe. In Reiki, we use this universal energy. This is basically what Reiki is.
Mm-hmm.
And we set a special intention to remove our own personal energy from this process and only send the clear energy of Reiki into person's body.
Right.
This way, we are protecting the person from any kind of additional intentions that we might have, whether or not, whatever you were thinking before the session, that it's not going to affect this person in any way. And this way, it removes all of our mental filters. So whatever you believe is possible or impossible, Reiki energy is very intelligent. It will go into your body, it will find a place where it's needed the most, and it will heal you in the exact way that you need. And if you, as a healer, is trying to control or manage this process, that you will limit it to only what you know. But this is
Mm.
why when I engage, I try to explain people, I am just facilitating this process. I am directing the energy into your body, but everything else, your own healing, is between you and Reiki. And I can explain you what's going on. I can do my best to direct it in the right places. But I said the healing will happen on your own, because you have this energy in your body. You just need more of it.
Okay, I'm just going to say a little story real quick. It's story time. So I
Please.
did this meditation with a really famous, and by the way, this was on like a Zoom with a really famous hypnotherapist who is an actual psychologist. And he would regress people to like their past lives or their lives in between lives, right? It's my favorite subject ever. And I
My
was like
favorite.
the best. And so I wasn't even like super prepped for this. I'm like in my bedroom, the Zoom is going on, whatever. And I went to the spiritual realm. I didn't go to a past life. I just went to the spiritual realm. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my God, I can't believe this is, I'm here. And I saw this circle of souls, and they were just energy. So just like kind of whitish spheres in a circle. And then one of them, like, because they knew it was like my soul team, it was like my spirit guides or something, or my guides just chilling. And one of them looked over and he showed his face of that I would remember from another life because I've never seen him in this life. And I was like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it's you. And it was so sweet. But then I bring this up because they put me inside of the circle of them. And the way they filled me up with energy was like every breath I took, I was like, I could feel like this tremendous energy download to actually give me more energy because I'm a pretty sleepy person most of the time. I don't have a whole lot of energy to give. And it was amazing because when I finally came out of the meditation, I was so energized. And I think it's from that life force energy that you're describing. And I just wanted to bring that up because I don't know if that resonates for you in some way with Reiki or if that is part of what it's like or whatever. But I just wanted to like lay that there for you. Go at
100%.
it.
2 points that I can address here in this story. One is, Reiki is a Japanese method, so it's very structured, it's very straightforward, like you just heal people with energy. However, what I tell people, once you start practicing Reiki, it will open up all of these gifts and talents that you had no idea existed. So I had zero psychic abilities whatsoever. Like never. I grew up in a family of scientists where we only believe in what you can prove, and this is why I'm so deep in my research, especially when it comes to Reiki. And then when I started practicing Reiki every day, when I had people come in, when I opened an office, and what I describe you, when you start interpreting what you feel, at first it's like very scary because like, am I making this up? And so what I did an experiment when people would come in, the only thing I knew about them was their first name. And I said, don't tell me anything, just lay on the table. We're going to do the session and we're going to talk after. And I'm going to speak first. So I'm going to tell you what I read from your body. And then you are going to confirm whether it's accurate or not, whether it resonates with you or not. 95% of people were like crying there because they're like, how do you know? I was like, I don't know. Your body speaks for itself. And there were a few moments when I was doing the session on people, and all of a sudden I hear this voice. And I was like, who's that? And they said, oh, it's like so-and-so's grandmother. Please tell them. Like, I can start crying at this moment because and I was like so lost. I said, this is not part of the session. This is not part of the protocol. But I was like, your grandma just asked me to tell you this and this. And the person starts crying because I was like, this is exactly what she used to say when she was alive. And I was like, okay, there is something to it. I didn't go further to develop it because it's a whole another scope of work, but I definitely started noticing that a lot of abilities started developing and I started applying it because they really helped me with my work. They really helped me focus this intention and everything. And the second point that I wanted to say, and this is, no one really talks about it, and this is something that I developed in my own research. There is a scale of frequency of like different, not so much emotions or feelings, but the gratitude will have a certain frequency, unconditional love will have a certain frequency, joy will have a certain frequency, and Reiki is a very specific frequency of energy. It is healing. It is very close to unconditional love, joy, and gratitude. In fact, I very often, sometimes I'm just like not in a mindset for Reiki, and I start with a big gratitude practice because it helped me. It takes me to this frequency, and then I take like a step and I go straight into Reiki, and my flow is so strong. This is why, like when I teach people to do Reiki, we always start with a teeny tiny little practice of gratitude, because when you're grateful for something, you acknowledge it and you admit that it's present in your life. So I always say, just be grateful for the healing that is about to occur, and it will come to you. Like, it's just like these little things and little elements that make the session so powerful. And I always involve a person. So anyone, even if I don't teach someone Reiki, but they only come for the session, we will always sit down and I will share a few elements here and there, and I ask them to join me for the gratitude, and to join me for their healing. So if they have some kind of intention, I ask them to just like hold this intention for the session. This way we can just get so much more out of it.
Do you have people who come in and they're very resistant? They want to do it, but their body is resistant. Can you feel it?
Oh, I can feel it. In fact, so usually I ask people to close their eyes,
Okay.
because you can relax, and you can drift away, like you said, in this like spirit world. And relaxation is a very big part of healing. In fact, we can even heal ourselves simply by relaxing alone. We're just like so like overstimulated all the time.
That's why I'm sleepy all the time. I'm just healing.
Yeah. I mean, listen, and this is a very powerful habit, and like so many people just don't know about it, and so they don't apply it. But I had this one client, and she was wonderful, and she loved it so much. But the whole time she had her eyes open, and she was looking at what I'm doing, and it was for an hour and a half. And at first, I was like, you can relax, it's okay. And then I realized, like, she just need this for safety. She just need to know what's going on at all times. And I said, listen, that's totally fine. And in fact, if you want, I will just be telling you exactly what I'm doing right now. And if that makes you feel more comfortable, and if that makes you feel more relaxed, then this is what's going to happen.
Huh. I mean, I think it's interesting because I think a lot of people want to be healed, but then they're also afraid of what that might mean once they're more in touch with maybe those feelings that they're hiding. I mean, a lot of people go to therapy thinking, oh, yeah, like there's not that much wrong with me. But the more you dig, the more you find that needs to be healed. And I think that's the same maybe with Reiki, where the more you kind of examine what's going on in your body, because we store all of our emotions and trauma and everything in our body, the more it wants to come out at the time. Does actually, let me ask you,
Yeah.
when you're healing someone or when you're working on someone, is it like everything comes out at once, or is it only what's ready to come out? Like trauma wise? Is that how that works?
Okay, that's a very good question. So the mechanics of Reiki is slightly different. Reiki is extremely gentle and ethical. So, and Reiki is designed to be a very comfortable experience. So they will rarely be something that makes you uncomfortable unless at level 3 I start teaching the cleanse. And the cleanse, there are specific symbols that you use, and that might feel slightly unpleasant. It can feel like a cold energy because it gets things out of you, and we push this negative energy through certain channels out of your body, and that is really the only part. Like I tell people, we never do cleanse at the first 2 sessions. I said the first 2 sessions we just fill your body with energy. Like we just need to replenish your reserves, and we need to start the self-healing process. And so usually, and I always ask a person when they come in, I said, do you have a very specific issue that you want to work on? Because some people just say, listen, it bothers me, I cannot think of anything else. And I said, let's just work on that. And then I will find the place where it's located in the body. I will still treat the full body because there is like cause and effect, and where the symptoms are showing is not necessarily where the issue started with to begin with. So I will always treat the full body, but I make sure that I make a person very comfortable by treating that particular part of the body. And they might not even know which part it is. I will find it to make sure that the healing happens. And then in the process, the thing is, like, when your body is full of energy and when it starts healing, like, you don't really feel anything going out. Like I actually had this conversation. We were doing a forgiveness practice with one of my friends recently, and she said, "You know what? It was just very intense." And I said, "Well, then you need to slow down. You need to let it happen naturally. Because if you look in the nature, like nothing really happens all at once. Everything takes time, and everything happens at divine timing." And I was like, just surrender the process, and I just let it happen and be patient. And I can tell you there is nothing in my life that I asked Reiki to help me with that didn't happen. Like everything. Some things, like I have a very deeply rooted, very painful childhood trauma that took me a few years, but it was a very gentle process. There was never a one moment when it just like came out all at once.
Okay.
It all happened very gradually, and I was able to rebalance the energy, and it affected my heart center. So I was able to heal my heart center, and I was able to make sure that the energy flows very freely through it.
That makes perfect sense. I love that you refer to in nature, nothing happens quickly. It is all a matter of becoming. That makes a lot of sense that our bodies would only be ready to give and take what it's able to do. And I just did a breathwork journey a couple of nights ago. I've been doing breathwork for about a year. I know we're like the same human. It's fine. I can see your face. It's all right. We were meant to meet. I've been doing breathwork and it's been amazing. But I've noticed that this last time that I did it, usually I get really cold. So I like bundle up. I'm like ready. And this time I was so hot. I sweated through everything. I was just drenched. And I'm like, interesting. And it wasn't like it was this big, crazy journey for me. It was pretty simple. Like, not much was happening on like the visual sense for me, but more so the physical sense was like, oh, we're just going to sweat out everything. When you talk about like cold energy coming through versus maybe warm energy, is that kind of what I just described?
Yes, but on a much more subtle level. So basically, like we all have different channels to how we can feel subtle energy. Like some people can see colors, some people can just feel the temperature, some people just feel pressure. Everyone has like such a different perception. You can develop all and any of them, depending on the gifts that you are starting with. But our palms are very sensitive. And I don't know, I mean, this is a very kind of like important thing that no one knows is that, okay, so we have 7 primary chakras and then we have so many of secondary chakras. It's like there is like more than 120. There is a whole system of them. But the 2 very important one in Reiki are located in our palms. And so these are the one that we channel our energy from. And so they can give the energy and they can receive the energy. So when you just simply give the energy, and this is what the traditional method is focused on. So you basically, the energy flow through their palms, but you can also set an intention to receive the energy. So when I work with people, sometimes I will give the energy with my right palm and I will receive the energy back with my left palm. And this is where I will receive the feedback of what their body is trying to say. And this feedback, again, sometimes like this part of the body can like push your hands away. Sometimes it just sucks them closer. Like if it was like a vacuum, there is some kind of like a negative pressure and it just say, I need more energy, I need more energy, and I need more energy. There are some people that come to me and I spend out of like an hour-long session, I spend 40 minutes literally just at one particular place. And then I tell them, you just need to pay attention. And I tell them what exactly this means. And I also give them kind of like a homework practices for them to do after the session. And I said, listen, like you need to journal, or you need to work on like accepting love more, or you need to just like process your emotions better. So like talk about them, speak, or like sit down and just like feel the emotions, and there's so many of different manifestations. I mean, there are 7 different chakras and each chakra is responsible for multiple things. So this is where the more you get to know yourself, the more interesting it becomes, that you start learning so many aspects of. Now when I feel something, I just know exactly where it's coming from, where it started, what to do with it, and it allows personally me to work with issues so fast. Like, I mean, it probably takes me a fraction of a second, and I just set an intention, and I just connect to Reiki, and I say, Reiki, just please go take care of this issue, and that's it. And it takes like 4 seconds. And sometimes like people, they say, hey, like something is going on. I was just like, just come to me, ask me to help you. I was like, it does not take me long anymore because I do it all day, every day. And I'm just like happy to help and give. And I was like, but you're going to need to do your part eventually, because I might not be around forever to, to help you, to support you with energy. But I want you to learn how to do it for yourself, whether it's Reiki or breath work or yoga or meditation, any kind of spiritual practice. Like, they are all about the same thing. This is what's so beautiful about them.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, this has been so interesting. You're right. We could talk for hours about this. I I know that you've been teaching this, and you and your family had a home or have a home in the Palisades, and the way that we met is through your sister-in-law Sarah, and she just it makes me like emotional thinking about the fires, but she just kept sending me video of your home, and she kept praying that it would not burn down and that the fire would like stop right before the steps to your house. And that's exactly what happened. It is like the most beautiful, beautiful thing that happened for you, and truly like just so blessed that you all are so blessed to just have had that. Anyway, I'm like making no sense, but
No?
it's just, I know that you guys have had to move and like relocate while this is all happening, but I know that you are teaching. Would you like to talk about that and how people can find you? Are you ready to be teaching or working right now with everything that's been going on?
So when I lived in Connecticut, I had an office in New York, and this is when I was healing people all day, every day. And then I moved, and I was like, what am I going to do with all the people? And I said, listen, I'm just going to teach you, and you will continue your practice just as you did with me on your own. And I'm here for you if you have any questions. Then I moved to Pacific Palisades, and I just started practicing again. And then the fire broke out, and it was a very big life-changing event for everyone. We moved, and I realized I just need to find a way to teach people, because you can actually make so much more impact. And people who have suffered from a fire, they probably will not have as much time, and their life were just turned upside down for many years. And I realized this is probably the best way. And then luckily, with all the tools and all the videos and audio, you can actually teach so effectively online. In fact, my original Reiki education I received online, and it was the most impactful. My attunement, my teachers were in Nepal, and I was in Los Angeles. So we were completely in opposite parts of the world. And I felt it like they were literally right here with me. And since I probably received 36 attunements, and those first ones that were remote attunements were the most powerful ones. So I always tell people, it doesn't matter where you're located, even if you live in the middle of nowhere, in Africa, in Antarctica, you can still learn, you can still practice. Energy does not have any limitations of distance or time. And I just think it's so much more effective, because when I teach Reiki, everything we talked about chakras and about practices and about safety and about symbols, I add everything I know, because I think it is so helpful, especially for Western people. We like to know, okay, how exactly this works, how fast is it going to help me, like how am I going to apply it in my life if I had a fight at work, or if I have this goal that I need to meet, like the financial goal or something. And I kind of like guide them through how you can apply the principles of Reiki and respect the traditional method, but at the same time use it in every area of Western life.
Amazing.
And I have an online school. It's called Higher Self Online. I never used to have a website. It was always word of mouth, and I always had more people, more clients, and more students that I actually had time. But now, since the fire started and I had to move, and I just sat down and I was like, okay, I need to record everything. I need to organize everything. I need to make a website, because most people that I talk to, we are hours away from each other. And I need to guide them through this very simple, streamlined process. So I got an app where they can even watch their lessons and do their guided sessions from their phone. And I think it was incredible. I'm so excited about this part.
I'm so excited. And is it available now or is it coming out?
Yes, I have a website. Right now, it's all direct messages with them and I give the access manually and everything. But I think in the next 1 or 2 months, I will have a fully streamlined when the person can go in, they can read everything about it. They can watch their preview lessons that will explain them what Reiki is, how it works, who it can help and who it can't. And they can decide if it's something for them or no. Because it's very important for me that it resonates with you before you get in. I think unlike other modalities, Reiki takes a certain level of spiritual development. You need to be a little bit prepared for this thing because it's so gentle and it's so subtle. It's very effective. But some people, they just need to feel that it works right away. Like when you do breath work, you feel it if you do it right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's working. Amazing. All right. Well, I'm going to have that. You're going to give me all the links. I'm going to put that in the show notes. So you guys can go find him and work. And if this is calling to you, if you're listening and thinking, oh my gosh, finally, this makes sense. I want to do this. Please reach out. Dima, do you have one more piece of lovely advice or any thoughts you'd like to leave us with?
Yeah. Take care of yourself and just let yourself rest and think about your energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be energy. Just like you need to fill your cup first, and then there is so much that we can give to other people, and then we can help other people and we can love them and heal them and support them. But you really, really, really need to take care of yourself. And this is a lesson I learned the hard way because I always used to give more than I asked for. And Reiki helped me replenish my cup first. And it's very important.
Agreed. Thank you so much. This has been so lovely.
Thank you, Jackie. Thank you for giving me a chance to talk about this.